Hi guys, I'm Bri.
And I'm Alli. This is Offscript.
If you think about it, books are potential scripts for movies.
When this adaptation happens, typically it's disappointing because they went off script.
In this series, we will be talking about how off script they went. All right. Well, welcome to Off Script. I almost said to podcast. Goodness.
I'm Alli.
And I'm Bri.
And we are joined by a collaboration today.
Yes, we have Vanessa with us from the Fabric of Folklore podcast. Hello, Vanessa.
Hi, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Thanks. We're excited to have you.
Yes.
Oh man, when you sent me the list of possible books we could cover, this was like the top one on it. And I was like, that's what we're doing.
Yeah. I was most excited about this one too.
Yes. She was telling me, she's like, I didn't even look at the other ones because I was so excited about Stardust. So
I saw it and I was like, oh, sold.
So today, as we just said, we're doing Stardust and we're excited about it.
Mm-hmm.
Do you want to tell us about your podcast a little bit?
Sure. So I started a podcast a little over a year ago. It's called Fabric of Folklore. And every week I interview someone that talks about a different element of folklore. So one of the things that I learned about, I'm not a folklorist, so I didn't study folklore. I just kind of fell into it, partially because I wanted to write some children's books that centered around folklore. And so I wanted to do research on it. And so my understanding of what folklore was it was just a folk tale. I just thought lore means story and tale means story. I just thought that they were synonymous, but it is not. That's not the case at all. Folklore is basically an umbrella term that really encompasses so much more. It's really cultural expression. That is institutionalized. So it can be a joke. It can be traditions, holiday traditions. It can be like mannerisms, even like the high five.
Wow.
It's like the legends and fairy tales and folk tales, but they all kind of have their own distinctions. And so it's a very large field that I didn't realize. I just thought I was talking about folk tales.
I just want to talk about all the lore, guys. Oh, wait.
And so, I mean, and I love all the other elements as well. And so, I've had a lot of different guests on from all over the world, and it's just a really fascinating topic. And the more I get into it, the more I love it.
Oh, I bet that's super cool. Like going into it, not realizing it was so large, and then just like uncovering each piece, like, whoa, wait, we can talk about this now?
Yes, that's exactly. Awesome. I'm like, oh my gosh, this opens up so many more avenues.
That's awesome.
Do you still plan on writing a children's book?
Yes, I am, but the podcast, as you know, podcasts are very time consuming, and I did not realize how much time they would suck. And so it has slowed me down. I have decided this semester of the year, I'm going to try and not put out as many episodes just so I can concentrate on writing a little bit more. And so I'm putting out more like 3 episodes a month rather than 4 to 5. And I also do another collaboration every month with a co-host, and then we call it Fairy Tale Flip. And it's still on my podcast list. So if you look at Fabric of Folklore, you'll see it every month. And so we look at one fairy tale a month, and we kind of dissect it. And so,
fun.
Yeah, it's really fun. Yeah.
That's super cool.
That's awesome.
Like the grim fairy tales, how they've like
exactly
gone all off. And, that's very cool.
And like what's happening culturally when they're being written, or who the author is, those types of elements that we really look at.
That's cool.
Oh, I never thought to look at that. Like, obviously, I know the author is probably going through some stuff, and so that's why they write it. But I never thought to think like, wow, you were like living this, and that's why you're writing that.
Right.
Oh, cool. Okay.
All right. Well, we are excited to have you.
Yes.
And we'll start with our
synopsis.
Okay.
So Stardust follows the magical journey of a young man, Tristran, as he ventures into the mystical land of Faerie. in search of a fallen star to win the heart of his beloved.
Mhm.
It was so cute. I had never heard of this story or movie until it was on our. I can't believe I didn't hear of it because it was so cute.
I thought when I scheduled it, I was like, Allie's gonna be so excited because she loves this movie.
Never, no. Where was I?
I don't know, because it was a really, I thought it was a popular movie. I loved it when it came out. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe not a lot of people knew about it.
I'm sure I was living under a rock. I don't know where I was.
It was sophomore year of high school.
Yeah.
This is so
But you knew about it. You'd think I would know. Oh, well.
I know, what were you doing that summer?
I don't know. All right. So we have our author, Neil Gaiman, director, Matthew Vaughn, screenplay writer, Jane Goldman, and Matthew Vaughn. And our audiobook reader is Neil Gaiman. You listened
That
to
was
it,
awesome.
right?
Yeah. He was a good storyteller. Plus, it's kind of nice when the author does it because then he can intone where he meant to intone.
Mhm.
So you can pick up on what the characters like antics are or what they're really meaning.
Yes.
And
It
he
was-
has
it
such a
was fun.
fantastic storytelling voice. I really
Yes, he
love.
does.
I mean, first of all, he has a British accent, so that always, helps
Yes,
me.
Yep.
that's fun.
But he is just like such a rich storyteller. I love his
Mhm.
stories. When he does all of his narration for all of his books.
Oh,
I
I
believe.
didn't know that.
That's
I mean,
really
I've
cool.
listened to the Ocean at the End of the Lane as well, and that one he narrated. I cannot remember about American Gods. That's the other one I'd read, but he had narrated the Ocean at the End of the Lane at least.
That's
That's
cool.
awesome.
Yeah,
I
he did a
also
good job.
I love obviously. So he wrote Good Omens, right? And I feel like because I hadn't read any of his other books, and then we read Good Omens this season, and then Stardust, and I had no idea that he wrote Stardust because that I felt like came out of left field for me. I was like, whoa, we went from demons to now like this sweet like love story about a fallen star.
Well,
But
and he also does like children's books.
wait,
Mhm.
what?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Well,
This
first of
one,
all, he's most famous for Coraline, I believe.
mhm.
Oh, I forgot he did Coraline.
But also young children's books. I read a book, Chewy's Day at the Beach, and it's a whole series. And it's very cute. It's about a little panda bear family, or I think, yeah, they're panda bears. I don't know, they're bears.
It's an animal.
But he has lots of children's books out there too. So he's like extremely varied in his writing styles.
Mhm.
Oh, wow.
Did
But-
you listen to because at the end of the audiobook he had a little interview.
No.
Oh, well, it talked about how this first started as a like a picture book.
It's a comic book series.
Oh,
Yeah, like
yeah.
a short 4-part comic series.
For
like I
adults.
could find it right now.
Uh-huh.
And it's
then he
illustrated.
Yeah.
Oh, I want that.
Yeah, I know. I was like, that's so cool. So, but the book he said had way more, like he went into
In
detail.
depth. Yeah.
Yeah, but I was like, but he wanted to do a comic books for adults.
Oh, I
Like,
love
I don't know, I
that
thought
so
was
much.
cool.
But my favorite thing is like you could just tell his writing style because the same humor that was in Good Omens is in this book, but it's toned down because he's like changing his audience.
Mhm.
So he's like, okay, I'm still gonna have this type of humor in it, but it's gonna be like this now.
Mhm.
And I really like that.
It was cute.
Mm-hmm.
But I felt so I didn't read Good Omens, but I did read American Gods, and I didn't like that book very much.
Really?
Interesting.
It's a very different style. It felt very
Oh.
masculine, and
Ah.
and American Gods is all about folk tale and fairy tales and deities and mythology. So you would think I would really like it, but it was just the style that it was written in. And so it's interesting that he's able to change his style so much. And American Gods is one of his
Yeah.
most popular books.
Really?
Yeah, and they made a TV series
Wow.
about it as well.
Oh. Adding it to the list, even though we might not like the book.
But it just I feel like I didn't enjoy it because it just had a very brusque feel to it, the American Gods
Yeah.
book.
Mhm.
And it didn't draw me in as much.
Mhm.
But
Yeah.
I think it's interesting how he's able to change so drastically.
Yeah.
That's impressive too. Cause like if you like this book and then didn't like that book, like that to be able to draw people in who he wouldn't normally have as an audience,
Mhm.
that's talented, I think.
Yeah, that's really cool.
I feel like if I wrote a book, that would not happen.
It would be all the same.
My like 3 friends reading my book. Yeah, Bri, go.
Gosh. All right. Well, the book came out in 1999. The movie came out July 29th, 2007. So that's an 8-year difference. Pretty impressive.
Actually, I feel sad that I didn't realize that this book came out. Like, I had never heard of the book until we started this podcast. I had seen it and was like, oh, I should schedule that for us. And then you said it and I was like, oh, good, I can finally schedule it for us.
Well, so I love to go through the Goodreads reviews after I read a book, and we are in good company. I did not know it was a book as well. I watched the movie before I read the book, or even knew about that it was a book. Because normally, if I know that a movie is a book, I don't want to watch it first. I want to.
Yep.
I want to read it first, and then I want to watch it, because then it's stuck in your brain, right? The way that you see it in the movies. But throughout the Goodreads reviews, most people said, I didn't even know this was a book before. Now I have to go back and read the book. So I mean, it must have been popular enough to make into a movie, right? But a lot of people didn't realize it was a book. So I think we're in good company.
I'm glad.
Yeah.
It makes me feel better. I'm the same way. I'm typically, I mean, since this podcast, I've started to try and give her more you can read it first options, but I'm such a purist when it comes to book. I'm the bookworm. So anytime there's an adaptation, I'm like, I cannot watch it until I read it.
Me, I'm like, whatever, do whatever.
Does it not like change your perspective on like how you're viewing it in your head?
Yes. So we have a theory, and this is why we flip it up, is because whichever one you do first, you tend to like that one more. And so it's like at a C average right now. So we're saying it's passing, but not super great.
But we just last night actually recorded a podcast episode for Stephen King's The Outsider. And this was one of the first like books that she read before where she was upset about the show.
I was so mad.
And she was like, Bri, I now understand what you've been like going on about in all of our podcasts.
Bri gets heated and everything.
I'm like sitting over here like, they didn't go to the diner.
And I'm like, that's the most minute detail. Why are you upset about that? And then last night I was like, he did it this way. And it was like the tiniest thing.
Yeah, I think it's a good theory. I mean, it probably doesn't work in every situation, but it is a good theory.
Yeah, it's been fun to test. So we tested it with this one. So like, which did you do first? So you guys already said you watched it first. So I read it first. So
since she had never seen it.
I had not. So let's see where that leads us.
Yes.
Oh gosh. Okay. So for our initial thoughts, what do you think about the story in general? Just the plot of this idea.
I love it. I think it's sweet. I think it's fun. There's adventure. I love it.
I thought it was super cute. It was very unique.
Yeah, he said he wrote it as a modern day fairy tale for adults, and I think it's very much in line with that. And I loved it as well. And I also love that it has those fantasy elements, but it isn't all about the world building. Don't get me wrong, I love a good fantasy book with lots of good world building, but I also enjoyed that this was 6 hours.
Yes.
So nice. Gosh. Coming off our 18-hour books, I'm like, a 6-hour one, yes.
Yes.
Yeah, it was very helpful. I typically read the physical books unless we're like in a time crunch. I'm like, okay, I just gotta listen to the audiobook, or I'm trying to get like 3 of our books read at a time. But I like early on in the season, I had rented from the library the book because I wanted to physically read this one, but then someone went and put the book on hold. But otherwise I would have read it.
Yeah.
But when I got it, it was thin. And I was like, none of our books are this thin this season.
It was nice. But yeah, it didn't feel like it was missing things. Like it's not like a complete story. It was nice. It was nice.
Yeah.
we kind of answered why we picked it a lot already.
Yeah. It was
So,
something I was excited about. I reached out to her to get her on the podcast. She sent me a list. It was there.
That's perfect. All right. So now we have this Alli super fun facts. Miramax originally had the movie rights. After they expired, Neil Gaiman felt uncomfortable granting it to just anyone. So after turning down numerous directors and young actresses who wanted it as a starring vehicle, Gaiman finally granted Matthew Vaughn the rights for free. Gaiman trusted Vaughn both as a friend and someone who stuck to his word, something Gaiman considered a rarity in Hollywood.
It is a rarity.
Yes.
That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. That was nice that he did it for free.
Yeah. Wow. That's impressive.
Yep. Number 2. Much of Ferdy's dialogue was ad-libbed by Ricky Gervais. For example, telling Lamia? Yeah. I'm awful with names. So, and for some reason she makes me say all the names because she thinks it's hilarious. So
I am too. I'm really awful with names.
Okay. Glad it's not just me. He can get her two-faced dog as a guard dog that can watch front and back entrances at the same time. That was ad-libbed. So of course it was because it's Ricky Gervais, and I feel like
he probably ad-libs everything.
Number 3, Matthew Vaughn had a great difficulty shooting the scenes at the inn where Lema entices Yvonne, Tristan, and Primus. There were very few days where more than one cast member was available for filming. He used a lot of stand-ins and close-up shots to give the impression that all of them were there and present. That would be so hard. That would suck.
I need more fun facts like this. I have a degree in film, and so I'm like all here for like the film stuff, and like this is the cool stuff to me.
I try to get them if they're book or movie, like film related. I look for them.
I just read fun fact number 5.
Well, wait. Okay, 4. Whenever Primus is seen traveling on his quest for the stone, he's alone because Primus is Latin for first. Whenever Septimus is on his quest, he is accompanied by 6 servants, making a total of 7, which Septimus is Latin for 7th.
That's actually really cool.
I thought that was a cool little
thing.
That's
smart. Yeah, I never would have picked up on. I just knew.
I didn't recognize that.
I felt really bad that their parents literally named them like a number child that they were born.
I did not even realize that.
Except for there's 2 ones. Did you notice that?
Oh, I didn't notice that.
Because the mom is Una, and then there's Primus. I think maybe gender, the gender came into there.
Yeah.
Yep. That makes sense. I didn't even think of that. I was just like, oh, there's the sister. It's even worse than I really thought. I was like, wow, they didn't name her number.
How funny. I didn't even realize they named them numbers. Where am I at? All right. And number 5, I put this one in here for you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I'm a huge Johnny Depp fan.
So Robert De Niro accepted the role due to his regret for turning down his role as Barbossa in Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. He would have been a great.
He would have been amazing as Barbossa.
Oh, but this might be my favorite role that Robert De Niro has
Oh
ever
my
played.
God, he's so perfect in it. I love him as it. He's like, I'm Mr. Tough Guy. But really, do you want to have some tea with me? Tea and crumpets.
It was so cute.
And this part wasn't in the book. And so because I watched the movie first and then I, read the book, I was disappointed that that element wasn't in the book. So I love that they fleshed these characters out.
Yeah.
I agree. I was like, man, this is like one of my favorite parts. And it's just not there.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there like, what is happening right now? All right, let's get into this comparison. So there's a town called Wall, and every 9 years they host this huge market right outside their valley. And Dunstan fancies this girl named Daisy, and he likes to go to the local pub area. And there's this gentleman there, and he starts talking to him and saying, hey, I need a place to stay for the night. And Dunstan's like, sure, come to my house. And he pays Dunstan a very good amount of money and says that he will give him his heart's desire tomorrow. Dunstan goes to sleep in the barn and he steps on this little hairy man thing and he apologizes. He's like, I'm so sorry. I'm camping out in your area. And Dunstan's so tired. He's like, whatever. And he goes to sleep.
Man, when I started reading this, I was like, wait, the dad has way more of a story. Like, not just him going and seeing this girl having a one night stand and then going. So yeah, this part doesn't super happen. He goes through the wall, goes to the festival, and then goes home, and now we're with the kid. It's also always confusing to me that it's the same kid who plays.
That's why he looks so familiar. I was like, why does this, like, he looks identical? How'd they do that? I didn't realize that.
Mm-hmm.
The same kid who plays the father plays Tristan?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Are you sure?
Is the same actor?
I'm pretty sure.
I thought it was a different actor.
I'm pretty sure they use the same actor.
Oh, I thought it was different. Also, Daisy is not in the movie.
Nope.
Yeah.
There's no Daisy.
Yeah.
No Mama.
Or Harry
Tristan. Yes, there's not. I was sad about that. Young Dunstan. No, they are different. But they are identical. Look at, oh my gosh.
They do look similar.
It's Ben Barnes, and he's actually a very famous dude.
They also changed his name in the movie.
Yeah, to Tristan, which I don't get why they make that change.
Oh. Tristan is a better name.
Yeah.
I agree, because Tristran.
I know. I was like,
I really thought his British accent was getting him. And I was like, why do you keep adding that R, dude? Can you say his name right? And then I was like, oh, I think that's his name in the book.
Oh, there is an actor in the movie, and I'm curious if either one of y'all recognized who Humphrey was. Because I looked it up while we were watching, and I was super surprised.
No.
Henry Cavill.
Oh my God.
He's super disguised. He's super disguised. I was watching it with my husband and was like, that's Henry Cavill? He doesn't even look like himself.
Oh my
and
God.
It's like a short
That's
little
hilarious.
Role.
That's so small. Like, that must have been like one of his first.
I guess.
Is that Superman?
Yes, it is.
Yeah, Superman.
You go
Witcher.
Superman. I was just going to say, to me, he's Geralt. He's Geralt of Rivia. And now stupid Liam Hemsworth is taking that role. It's so much. But actually, okay, I haven't gotten a chance to tell you this because we haven't covered it yet, and you're not a huge fan of The Witcher. But it's so in line with our podcast why he stopped being Geralt. Are you ready?
No idea. Yeah.
So he is such a fan of the books. The first few seasons, we're following it. Then they gave him the script for the third season. He was like, this is not, what are you doing? And they're like, this is the way we think we should go. And he's like, if this is the way you're going, I'm out because you're not doing the book justice.
Wow.
And
good for him.
They said, okay, rather than we'll fix it.
Well,
yeah.
They're lost.
I was like, wow, they're dumb.
Hey, who would say okay to losing Henry Cavill? Like, that's
stupid.
Decision making. It's gonna kill the movie.
Like,
it's gonna kill the show.
It's like you have this fan base who loves Henry as Geralt. Why are you now like meh? And like, yeah, I like Liam Hemsworth, but he is not Henry Cavill. Like, anyways, it should be.
All right. Well, Dunstan wakes up and he gets paid with his deepest desire, which is for his generation and generations to come. They will always have their wildest dreams come true. And then he went to the market.
Yeah, this doesn't happen.
Nope.
Again, like I said, dad's story. I was so. It's hilarious because I texted Allie like when I first started, and it just was talking about the dad like jumping over the wall, and I was like, I forgot. Good Omens was like spot on. There were only a few differences, but they were okay. I'm feeling like this is going to be the same. And then I got into like chapter 2, and I was like, hold on. Can I take that text back?
So soon he comes by a shop that was run by this little fairy girl, right? Faerie. Wait, was she a fairy or was she from Faerie?
She's from Faerie.
But they also call her a fairy.
Do they?
Because how she's tiny.
I don't know. I don't think that it is her size. I think that people from that fairy are fairies. I'm not positive. I didn't
Oh, okay.
understand the
That
distinction, but like when the hairy little man is like with him on the journey, he's like, "I think you're part fairy," like, and
Right.
I think it's
Because
referring to that he's from this
Oh,
area.
but he has like fairy ears. His half sister starts making fun of Tristan about
for the
his
fair. So I
ears.
bet you I never put that together.
Yeah.
I just thought the town was called Fairy, but I bet you're right. They probably are fairies because they all do magical stuff too, like
Yeah.
left and
Okay.
right.
I just wanted to clarify. Okay.
But
So,
also, so going into folklore, fairies are
yeah.
done generally in the past wouldn't have been tiny. Most people saw
Oh,
Oh.
them as like human sized.
Oh,
ooh,
interesting.
so like an elf,
Yeah.
but not.
Okay. How cool.
I didn't know that.
I did not either. That's why
It
we're
depends on
learning
where the
today.
fairies are from, like what mythology you're looking at and what areas. But some of them are like normal human size.
Oh, how interesting.
Okay.
Okay, so she was normal human size. They did
Mhm.
talk about her dainty hands, but that was pretty much all they talked about. Small was her hands. I was
Yeah,
like, okay.
she has tiny hands.
Yeah. All right. So it turns out she's a prisoner to this lady who runs this cart, and she sold beautiful glass flowers. And he's like, "Oh, I got to buy one for Daisy." And she says, "But we don't take money. Maybe I'll take your memories before you're 3, or the color of your hair, or maybe a kiss on the cheek." And he thought she was cute. So he's like, "Oh, yeah, okay, I'll give you a kiss." And then she's like, "Okay, come back at midnight and hoot like an owl." Well, okay.
This happens in the movie, but there's no Daisy, like we've said. And I think it's hilarious when he goes to kiss her on the cheek and she's like, "Yeah, you're kissing me."
Yeah, and then she just takes him.
I know. No, like come back later. She's like, "Oh, the witch is in here. Let's go in here."
Oh
She
my
gets it where
gosh.
she can, I guess.
I guess.
I've been trapped here, tied to the cart for
Yes.
too long.
And we don't even know
The-
how long, right? Even at the end of the book, I
Right.
don't
Yeah.
think we know the length of time she's been in, trapped.
Nope. I don't
No.
think so.
Oh, I wish we did.
I think time might also
I
move
think they just
differently.
Yeah.
yeah. Oh, yeah. The timeline in the book, in the movie, all of it takes place in a week,
Yes.
Yeah.
and in the book, it's like months.
Yeah.
But I meant like in fairy, I think time moves differently.
Oh,
Oh.
I'm not
Yeah,
sure. I'm not
I can see
positive,
that.
but it seems like that might be the case.
Right.
It would make sense.
Yeah.
What book did we just read? Maybe it's a TV show. Oh no, it's The Magicians. We're covering The Magicians right now, which is a book and TV show, and they have
Oh.
there's like a Earth world, and then there's a magical world, and like
Yes.
when you're in the magical world, time like slows down for you. So then you go, or no, wait,
It
I
just
think it's vice
stops.
versa.
No,
Yeah.
the magical world is like normal, but then it's like if you're in the magical world and then you go back to the real world, it's like they didn't even know you were gone. Type of thing. Crazy.
So I could see that. All magical places must just move at a different time.
That
Yeah.
would make sense. So Dunstan went to find Daisy and he kissed her and threw her the flower. And her father's like, "Oh, he's in a magical daze." And Daisy's crying because she's so happy because Dunstan kissed her. And they brought him back to town so that her father and his father are looking for the flower shop. And they found it, and the woman working it is so angry because this fairy girl just gave her flower away without taking money for it.
No. Also in the movie, I didn't think that the flower was glass. Did you guys? Am I crazy?
No.
Was okay.
I
I
didn't.
mean, I did, but I read it first.
Oh yeah, that's true. I forgot. Never mind, Allie. I don't want your opinion. The whole time I was like, it's glass? And he carries that around with him the whole time? It's like in his pocket and doesn't break.
It's magical glass. Come on.
True magic.
All right. So later that night, Dunstan went and hooted like an owl. And then he found the fairy girl. and they chatted and they found out she's a prisoner until the moon loses her daughter and 2 Mondays come together. And he's like, well, that sucks because like, when will that ever happen? And then they end up kissing and like going at it. And then time goes on and Dunstan and Daisy's friends are getting married. And Daisy's like, her mom is talking to Dunstan's mom and it's like, she's so depressed because Dunstan won't even talk to her anymore. And so they had to talk. And now Dunstan's getting married to Daisy just like that. And they're fixing up their new cottage. And then a baby is dropped off on the doorstep. And Dunstan knew it was the little fairy girl's baby. And his.
Again, his story is so much more fleshed out and there's no Daisy. So a baby just shows up on his doorstep.
Yep.
Oh, another big difference. When Una will be oh, I just spoiled that.
Spoiler. You're spoiled. Yeah, like we don't spoil all the time.
Oh, yeah. When the prisoner is free is when the witch dies in the movie. It's not this.
Right.
When the moon loses her daughter.
Yeah.
They simplify it.
I was thoroughly confused when she told him that. I was like, wait, so when the witch died?
Yeah, I thought that was the cutest little part. I was, man. All right.
You know, the way that Gaiman wrote the Daisy and Dunstan, that's how you say his name, right? Dunstan?
Yeah.
Part, it just seemed to me like that he just knew he had to marry someone and Daisy was just there and so they got married.
Yeah.
Like it just kind of like the way he writes the village, it just seems so unexciting and purposely, right? This is like the point of the village is there's not a whole lot going on. Nothing inspires him. Nothing inspires passion in him. Not even the woman he ends up marrying. It's just because he marries her because that's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to find someone to marry.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's actually a good point. I hadn't thought of that, but I also did sit there and I was like, dude, you're so much more excited about going over. That's another difference actually. In the movie, they're almost like not allowed to go through the wall. They're like, nope, you can't go through here. What are you doing? And then Dunstan and Son both trick the guard.
Yep.
I also like the old man guard in the movie rather than the two like just regular old guards.
He was so good. He was a very good comedic relief.
Yes. So funny.
What's funny is, so I had seen this movie before. And so when I was watching it for us, typically I will watch it, but we'll be doing household chores, oh, I'm gonna do laundry or this or that. And so I started it thinking, okay, you'll get some chores done. And literally right when I saw that old guy, I was like, oh yeah, this movie's so good. And I sat deeper into the couch and then I did not do any of my chores. I was like, well, this is how you know I like this movie.
Okay. I'm just gonna say Tristan because it's too hard to say Tristran. So Tristan.
I also towards the end of the book he started saying it like Tristram and I was like, wow, am I just hearing his name completely incorrect?
I did not even notice this, so I'm glad that y'all noticed this part.
Too hard. Okay. So Tristan is the baby's name. And growing up, Daisy never really cared about him. Oh my gosh, but he didn't know why. His half sister, but he thought was real sister, full sister, always is making fun of him because one of his ears is just awkward. And Tristan was in love with this girl named Victoria, and he worked at a shop, and she would come in one day and she gave him a shopping list, and he just started shopping for her. And he asked if he could walk her home at when was it busy in the book or it was nighttime?
No, it was just
busy.
It wasn't busy, right?
But I love in the movie that she comes and cuts the whole line, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Victoria. Okay, Victoria," and starts helping
and just leaves during the middle of the day.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. Anyways, so they walk home, and he's like, "Can I kiss you?" And she's like, "No." And then they watch a star fall, and he continues, "Can I please kiss you? Can I marry you?" And she's like, "No." And then he says how he would give her the world if she marries him. And she's like, "Go give me that star, and then we'll see."
So basically, this happens except for the whole half sister thing, which I get why they didn't do it in the movie because happy ending and all of that. But I also feel like it would have been cool to see that disconnect for him with his family to kind of, you know, solidify that he's meant to be over in Faerie.
I also noticed that Victoria, her character seemed a little bit different in the book than in the movie. She seemed more like vapid in the movie.
Yeah.
And more like not hurtful. She wasn't hurtful necessarily, but she didn't really care as much about people's feelings as much.
Yeah.
I didn't get that feeling from her in the book.
No,
What's funny is going into it, having seen the movie, this first scene with her, I was like, she's spot on. And then you get to her last scene in the book. And in that scene, I was like, oh, you are not like Victoria from the movie at all.
Yeah.
This is a different you.
Yeah. I forgot a scene where it was Victoria talking to her friends and she's like, they're fawning over this guy, something Monday.
Robert
Monday. Was that
who she marries.
You're spoiling it again. What's going on, girl?
I was just trying to be like, is that who you're talking about?
But yeah, so that was right before this scene. And then here comes Tristan and she's like, no, you cannot kiss me. No.
And
I'm saving myself.
He owns the shop, right? Mr. Monday is the owner of the shop.
Oh yeah,
yes, he is.
So it's Tristan's boss.
And
awkward.
that's not
because that's why
case.
she goes into the shop because she fancies Mr. Monday.
And the big difference here is instead she's fawning over Henry Cavill. And let's be honest, I think anyone would. Poor Tristan, he never stood a chance.
So Tristan said, if I go get that star, will you marry me? And she's like, if you get that star, I will do whatever your heart desires. And he said, okay. And he went and told his parents he's leaving. His father gave him the glass flower, and his father brought him to the gate and said, okay, you know where this boy came from. And they're like, you're right. And they let him through. And Tristan's like, what? Okay, I'm free.
I'm free. Big difference here is Tristan goes home and his father's like, oh, look, I have it's a something candle.
Babylon candle.
Thank you. And this is going to take you, like, you just have to think really hard about it. And then tells them basically, I feel like you want to go over the wall because that's where your mother's at. And he's like, mother?
Yeah. Just spoils it right there.
Yeah, exactly. So then I was really sad when in the book, the whole scene, because I love when he so after he uses the candle and he lands on the star, he's like, mother?
Oh yeah.
And she's like, I'm not your mother.
Yeah.
So that did not happen in the book, and I was very sad.
There's another cute scene that happened instead. I thought it was cute. We'll get there. All right. Before we get to the star, we're at the King of Stormden, and he's dying, and he's talking to his 3 surviving boys, and they killed their brothers so that they can get the crown. And I love the ghostly sons that are there watching, and I'm so
Isn't that
glad.
brilliant?
It was so funny, and they did phenomenal in the movie. Like they were here in the book, but they were so funny in the movie.
Oh, they're the best part.
Oh my gosh. So, the king tells his sons, go look at the window, and he's like, what do you see? And 2 of them are like, nothing, or the kingdom, or something like that. And then one says, I see the stars. And the king then throws his little topaz rock out the window and says, the prince who gets this rock will be the next king. And then he dies, and they see a star fall. And 2 of the brothers say they think that king is crazy, and one is determined to get the stone. And the dead king is now talking with his dead sons.
So didn't they kill a brother right here in the book?
They did in the movie. I don't remember if they did in the book.
I don't remember either.
I don't think they did. I think there were only 3 of them.
Okay. So they just push a dude out the window.
Yeah, one of them is pushed out the window.
In the book too? Or
in
just
the book
the movie?
too.
Okay. I never was in the movie.
I'm not sure if he's pushed out the window because I put that he dies so differently, but I can't remember
There's
how
4
he dies.
in the movie. There's 4 sitting around his bedside in the movie, right? And one is pushed out the window and one is poisoned.
Yeah. And then in the book, isn't it just 3?
Yeah, so I don't think one died here. I think they purposely in the movie had one die just so we could see that when they die.
And
they're
stick
ghosts,
around.
They're ghosts how they die. That's what I got. Like So like he's smushed.
Mm-hmm.
And they're like, okay, you're smushed forever until there's a new king. And so that's why I felt like but I don't remember a brother dying in the book.
I actually think almost that they showed it in the movie to show how evil the brothers are, because they're like, oh, I want to be king. Like,
right. That's what I don't know. I don't remember them one dying in the book here.
Also, a difference is the stone. Isn't topaz blue?
Yeah. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Or wait, no, topaz is yellow, I think.
I think there's 2 different types of topaz, because I always thought that was blue too until we read Twilight, and then it always says Edward's eyes are like topaz and they're like gold, and I'm like,
I'm just thinking of Diablo.
yeah. There's blue topaz, and then there's
Yellow
gold topaz.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But in the movie, it is red.
It's like ruby, right?
Yeah.
I was confused by that. I was like, do I not know where topaz is?
It's not. Also, in the book, the king, like, they're able to walk the king to the window too, whereas in the movie, he's just bedridden.
All right. So now we're with these 3 old witch women in this disgusting house. But they have a reflection in the mirror, and there's these 3 younger women in a very clean, nice, beautiful house. And they're sharing how they need to go on this quest to get something. And one of the witches eats something golden and turns into this young, beautiful woman again. And now there are only 2 witches in the mirror. So she basically is herself. And she says she's going to go get that star. Very vague, but I'm like, okay, what's going on?
Yeah, that happens.
Mm-hmm.
In the forest somewhere, there's a crack and a bright light. And then you hear a young woman saying, ow, ouch, ouch, ouch.
We don't see that. I mean, we see the bright light, but we don't see her until Tristran.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So Tristran woke up in the woods to a little hairy man. He's back. The creature tells him, don't go saying what you're doing to everybody, because this is like, everybody's going to want this thing. And so the 2 of them get stuck, and Tristran, by like, were they stuck in like a net? Or they got stuck somehow. They got trapped. And then this yellow leaf stung Tristran. And finally they get free. And Tristan's like, I know where the path is. And Tristran realizes that he knows where everything is in Faerie, but he cannot tell this little guy where anything is in the human world. Like places. Like he's
and
like,
that's
oh,
when the hairy man is like, I think you're part fairy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
There is no little hairy man in the book.
No, that character is
movie.
entirely eradicated. And I was sad because I wanted to see what he was supposed to look like.
I know.
Exactly. Is he just a little guy who's just got a lot of hair, or is he supposed to be like a little Chewbacca?
I was imagining like what's his name from Hercules?
Oh, Danny DeVito. Or,
yeah.
Not Danny DeVito.
I mean, it is. Yes.
I mean, he's kind of a hairy little man.
That's true too.
Oh my gosh. Anyways.
And then this whole part doesn't happen because he just has his candle to get him to the star.
Like immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Immediately.
Because he doesn't have the candle in the book yet.
No, not yet.
So the 3 remaining princes are mourning their father. And then one of the wives or girls, friends, or someone brought a bottle of wine to one of the princes and said, he took a sip. And he's like, where did you get this? And she's like, oh, one of your brothers gave it to you. And then he was poisoned and died.
That happens. But then they also do a really hilarious scene. And I just loved seeing, because it's a brother relationship. So you could tell he's just like messing with his brother. Like, you thought I died.
Yes.
You thought you were king.
In the movie.
Yes. Oh my gosh. And he's like, well, you would be dead if you drank the right cup. So then they poisoned the bishop, and like, yeah, that was actually pretty funny. I like that. So the witch queen. Oh, yeah.
I was just going to say, I know. So the hairy man is in the book is responsible for Tristan's transformation, whereas in the movie it comes later with the pirates.
Oh yeah.
So the hairy man, like, he's like, you stand out like a sore thumb, and he goes and gets him new clothes, and he like helps him to blend into Faerie.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yep. That's a pirate thing.
Man, no, I don't know if I'm sad or not. I'm like, I love that pirate. So
wow. The witch queen went into a town and she found this little boy, and he's selling his goat. And she's like, oh, I will buy that goat from you. And he's like, okay. And then she's like, this will be really nice with a pair. And then she turns him into a goat. Poor kid.
Yeah, this happens.
I pictured the kid as a kid, though. And he was pretty much a teenager in the movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Was it just because I read it first?
Yeah, because I didn't. Once I read this part, I was like, oh, it's a mom telling her teenage kid to go do this.
I mean, that could have been what it was, but
yeah. She's a mom, and so she's got 2 kids. So you probably were like thinking
my
about if
little
you sent.
Oh man. So the hairy man talked to Tristan, and I hate how they never gave the hairy man a name. I'm like, Tristan, why would you not ask him what his name is? But that's just me. So he talked to Tristan, and they spoke about a nursery rhyme that involved getting there by candlelight. And these creatures then come and steal Tristan's hat as the little hairy man's off somewhere. And they're just making fun of him. And then the hairy man came back and he told Tristan, you're fine, chill out. And then they said the riddle again. And then he pulls out this candle and let him know you can travel there very quickly with this candle. Every step he got closer and closer to the star. And he finally finds this girl crying. And she's like, I broke my leg when I fell. And he's like, I'm searching for a star. Do you know where it is? And she's like, I broke my leg. Like, are you paying attention? And then it clicks. Oh my gosh, you're the star. She had the little topaz stone, and the candle helped him travel at least 6 months away from the wall. But now it's like all burnt out. And so they had to walk back in this broken leg girl.
Oh, but I was going to say, in the movie, she doesn't have a broken leg. Like, she hurt it because she fell. But it's not broken. She's like, okay, I guess I'm walking with you.
She was limping a little bit. It was not.
Yeah.
Yes. This was the part I liked, that you were like, oh, they don't have the mother part. I was like, yeah, but I like that he just ignores that. She's like, my leg is broken. He's like, oh, I'm looking for someone. My leg is broken.
No, and she was so grouchy.
Yes. So angry. Oh, poor girl. So Tristan made the star splint, and they walked for a while, and finally they got to this clearing, and a lion and a unicorn show up, and they begin to fight, and the star is begging Tristan to stop it. Eventually the lion begins to shake the unicorn, but Tristan was able to stop him, and the star began petting the unicorn, and she shared that her name is Yvain.
Yvain? Yeah.
Oh gosh, all right. Oh no.
But there was a folk tale in there. There was a folk tale in there that he used in order to try and to get the lion away, right?
What was it?
Yeah, I don't remember. I was like a lullaby or something like that.
Oh yeah,
actually, it is. So. Yeah, I don't remember what it was.
I don't either. Sorry, my notes are always very vague.
Yeah,
and even when they're not, I feel like they need to be more vague. Like 5 hours later, I'm like, oh man, I should have stopped talking. I could not remember the star's name for the life of me. This is the problem with audiobooks too. Like if I was reading it, obviously I would remember. But I was like, Evangeline. And then I'm like, no, that's the star in the Princess and the Frog.
Yes.
And I'm like, I don't know. So no, I'm not going to get her name right, even though I have it typed right in front of me.
In the movie, she introduced herself like immediately. It didn't take her as long as it did in the book. Like it was almost like she was like, I don't trust you, so I'm not giving you my name in the book. Whereas in the movie, she was like, my name is Yvain. Also, the unicorn doesn't come into the movie just yet.
Is there a lion in the movie too?
No. That whole fight scene doesn't happen. She just kind of like appears.
Yeah.
The unicorn appears.
And she doesn't appear with Yvain first. Yeah, because it comes when Yvain is... Oh, wait. No, when it comes to Yvain, not Tristan. That's what I meant. So, like, Tristan doesn't get to see it in the movie until...
later.
He gets to the end. He's like, there's a unicorn.
Oh, that's right. That's right. So the witch came upon another witch, and the witch queen starts sharing how she's not going to hurt you, or I'm not going to hurt you because I'm part of the sisterhood. And they're like, oh, okay. They sat down and they had a nice lunch together. But the traveling witch had truth poison the witch queen. And so she's spilling all this information about the star and how she's planning to cut her heart out. And so that'll continue to make her and her sisters young. And the witch queen is pissed, and she reveals who she was, which, I mean, I guess she's well known as the scary witch. And the traveling witch is like, oh my gosh, I'm so scared. And the witch queen put a spell on her, so she'll never see or know or talk about the star, and all this information will disappear.
I love this little, like, I just love that she casts the spell, because you see it in the movie and you read it, and your first thought is, this isn't going to come into play like later. Like, you just aren't going to get to see the star. But then it becomes like this big thing that also every time I watch it, it doesn't click until Evane's going to like punch the witch, and she's like, why can't I touch you? And then I'm like, oh yeah, I remember.
Oh my gosh.
Mhm.
So we meet some pirates, and we see one of the princes riding this crew of black horses. So it's just this quick scene where we get updates on the other characters.
I feel like the brothers are shown a lot more in the movie, obviously, because, you know, you can't have a movie just solely following one set of people. And so we see a little bit more of like them with their rune stones, like throwing it up and like, what do the stones say? Do you work for my brother? And all of that like backstabbery.
Yeah.
It adds urgency.
Yeah. So then Tristan let Evane, did I say it right?
You did.
Okay. Ride the unicorn because her leg. And Tristan's getting real hungry. And finally he says he needs to go to town to get some food. And this is when he unties her, and he comes back and she was gone.
So in the movie, she gets tied up to a tree, and then the unicorn comes and just magically undoes her silver chain.
Yeah, the opposite happens.
Yeah.
Instead of untying her, he ties her up.
Yeah.
I was like, what is happening right now? Why?
He's like, I'll undo you from me, but you're going on a tree.
Yeah.
And also the unicorn has come to her because she's sent by the moon. That comes up later on.
Oh, yeah. Yep. I forgot about that.
And the moon is, I guess, the mother of stars in that mythology. Is that?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
I think that's what it was.
That's what I'm assuming.
That's what I took from it.
Mm-hmm.
So the witch queen knows that the star is coming. She's getting very excited. And so one of the brothers is still searching for the stone. Well, I guess they both are. And Evane rode away on the unicorn. So there's more character updates.
Oh, I guess another thing I should, because I watched the movie first, I always pictured Evane wearing the necklace, the like king necklace. In the book, wasn't it in her pockets?
It's like, I thought it was like tied on her hip.
Oh, okay.
Yes, I thought it was like a belt.
Yeah.
Yeah. I was like, wait, that's not around your neck. I don't know what.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not a big difference, but you know, one that I
No, it was. I noticed it too. I was like, So Tristan woke up and the tree is talking to him. So here's the scene.
Yeah.
And he shared what happened, and that because he's just down now because he's like, oh my gosh, the star's gone and I'm stuck out here. And what's the point of this whole thing? And he shared that he untied her. What was he thinking? And she's like, I'm so glad you untied him. Because of that, I will give you some stuff. And she gave him, let him know that the star is in danger and that he needs to get going because people are coming for her. And then she gave him a leaf to tell him more information when he really needs it. And then this black carriage came and he's like, hey, help me. And it turns out it was Primus, which is one of the king's sons. And he hitched a ride.
Isn't it Primus?
Primus? I don't know. Sure. One of those things.
I wish this tree scene was in this movie.
It was cute. I thought it was cute.
He was kind of like a consciousness. Like, you know, like, are you sure you're doing the right thing? Like, think about your actions.
Instead, he had like this weird dream and just knew that he had to go find Evane.
Yeah. That's how he did it.
In the movie.
Okay.
All
right.
He falls asleep. Well, at first he's like, oh, I don't know what I'm doing. And then he's like, okay, I guess I'm going to sleep. And then he has the dream and wakes up and is like, I gotta go help her.
Okay. So the Witch Queen created this little inn and turned the goats into people.
Mhm.
I thought it was so funny. And they were pretending that this was the inn, and Yvain comes. Oh my gosh. I did not picture. I know that one of them really was a goat, but I did not picture him still acting like a goat. And then when I watched it, and then it was Mr. Weasley too.
Yeah.
I was laughing
It
so hard.
was.
It was
Yeah.
Mr. Weasley.
It almost made it better.
God,
Like I was like, it's almost like he found out about goats and it's like, I'm gonna pretend to be a goat right now.
I was dying. It was so funny.
That whole
Oh,
scene
funny.
was so brilliant because I think that the one of the goats is turned into like a boy, and then like one is like a man, but in the movie it's a female, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
And,
Yep.
He looks down and is like, "Ooh, what are these?"
Yes.
I also love when like she goes to give Tristan the drink and he's like, "Oh, what's your name?" And he's like, "Bart."
Yeah. Like, in this deep voice. Yes. Oh my gosh. That was a good one.
I was like, I'm always shocked that it takes the unicorn knocking the drink out of his hand because I think I would have been like, "Huh?" and dropped it
Right.
myself.
Oh man.
Uh,
Oh gosh. All right. So Primus told Tristan about Septimus, and he said, if you see him, run, because he's trying to kill me and he's just dangerous. And then they see a light and it's the inn. So they start going towards the inn.
Mhm.
Yvain showed up to the inn first, and the innkeeper pulled her in, and we know it's the witch. She's very hospitable, and she's like, oh my gosh, I have a warm bath for you. And she's like, how is your heart doing? Which is a weird question, but we find out a happy heart is worth more to the witches because it'll keep them young longer. And so she's ready and she's about to kill her, but then Tristan and Primus. Oh my gosh. Every time shows up, and the witch went in to deal with them. She's like, just stay here, be calm, and I'll go deal with these people.
Mm-hmm. This, like, it kind of happens, except for the witch is like trying to poison everyone, and so she sends the fake daughter to give everyone their poison.
So Tristan took the horses to the stable, and one of the inn people, this is what he said, brought him some meat, and the unicorn shows up and puts her horn in it and starts bubbling. And he's like, oh my gosh, unicorn horns detect poison. And he decided to listen to the leaf, and it told him a little secret.
Oh, I completely forgot about that.
Because the movie, it just knocks it out of his hand,
the
right?
movie,
No,
he doesn't know about the unicorn yet. So like, also I feel like if I were Tristan and I saw a unicorn, it would have taken me a minute to be like, there are unicorns. Like, hold on. But so the unicorn like breaks out of her stall and knocks his drink over and then runs out to be like, you need to go into here because it's trying to show like Yvain's in danger.
I feel like that makes more sense than a unicorn walking over and just putting its horn in your drink.
That's true.
Like, I feel like knocking it out of your hands is like more urgent. Like, do not drink that.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's a cute little, oh, unicorn horns detect poison. Like, that's a cute thing.
Yeah, and then he doesn't have a leaf in the movie, so
I know.
he just runs.
How did he think to do? So the leaf tells him that he needs to basically use the little bit of wax left and get out of there, right?
Yeah, he
just thinks of it.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I couldn't remember.
Yeah, he just had it, and he was like, Yvain, you need to back up. Hold on to me. And then he says, think of where you want to go really hard. Or no, he says, think of home. And then puts the candle in there.
And in the book, he really burns his hand doing it.
Yeah, which honestly, that makes so much sense. You just put your hand in like a witch fire.
Right? Before this happens, the witch queen tried to poison Primus. Yeah?
Yes.
Okay.
Good job.
But he said, oh, no, until my brother is dead, I only drink from my cup. And then he noticed Yvain.
There you
Good gosh. And she had the topaz rock, and she's like, if you want it, just ask for it and I'll give it to you. And she's a grumpy little girl in the book.
It's hilarious. I mean, she just fell from her home.
I know,
Yeah.
that's fair. Tristan runs in saying, they're trying to poison me. And this whole kerfuffle happens. And the Witch Queen slashes Primus's throat. And the unicorn comes and stabs the Witch Queen. And Tristan goes over to Yvain. Yeah?
Mhm.
Okay. Gosh. And uses this little leaf, or what's little left of the candle wax. And they took 3 steps, and they're in a new place. And he burned his hand, like we said.
What's funny is I think you get 2 in your head when a name's about to come up.
I
So then
do.
you like screw it up.
I really do. Like if I just like went with it, I'd be fine. But I don't.
In the book, do they describe that the blood is blue? Because in the movie, his blood is blue. And I kept being like, why is his blood blue? Like, is that just what the color of blood is in Faerie?
I don't remember.
I was going to say it didn't describe it, and I was also confused. But
I was too.
Yeah, apparently that's the color of blood in Faerie.
That was interesting. All right, now we're with Septimus, and he found Primus's body. Yeah, and he just laughed. Jeez Louise, you guys. But then he realized, gosh dang, now I have to find this revenge, this whoever killed him, because that's the law, and I still need to find the stone. Because he was excited for a second that he was king, and now he realizes he is not yet.
What's funny is if there's a revenge law, why weren't they killing the brother that was killing all the brothers?
Well, that's their ultimate goal, right?
Yes,
that's true.
Oh my gosh. Okay, Yvain is now bound to Tristan because he saved her. So it's the law that you saved me. So now I must take care of you, and you must take care of me. I don't really say that in them.
I was going to say in the movie, this was not a thing. Because then it made a little bit more sense why, like,
she stuck around.
Yeah. Whereas in the movie, I think it's just her bond with him is already starting to form, and she's already starting to feel like her feelings for him. And you can kind of see because she's starting to act a little bit nicer and not as mean. And so that's the difference there.
Also, going back to the brothers, I think that it's interesting how Gaiman writes this element, because in most storylines in history, right, the kingdom just passes on to the oldest brother. But in this particular storyline, they have to kill each other off, as if that is the only way to determine.
Like, why would you have 7 children
to kill them all off?
I know.
They're like, only the best can survive.
I love,
and the father is happy, right? The father's happy every time a child is killed, right?
He's like, yes, another one.
He's like laughing in his bed when it, like, at the very beginning, I was like, what is happening right now? Oh my gosh, that was funny. Like, very dark funny. All right, so the witch like kind of revived the unicorn for a second, and then she chopped its head off. Oh, and then with the blood, she made like a communication way with her sisters, and they're pissed. They're like, you had her and you lost her. And she's like, at least I'm gonna bring a unicorn heart. And they're like, yeah, that's like whatever. But then they told her where the location the star is going, so she could continue to find her.
I'm glad that in the movie they don't kill the unicorn.
Me too. I was happy that I didn't have to watch that.
Yeah. But the rest of that does happen.
How did she communicate with sisters? Just through a mirror or something, right?
And she casts another little spell.
Oh, okay. Oh yeah.
Oh yeah, that's the thing in the movie too. As she casts each spell, she's like getting older and older.
I think she was in the book too, but not as
prominent.
Obviously.
Yeah.
This
And
one
also, when you kill a unicorn, isn't it often bad luck in a lot of lore? But that doesn't come to anything in this one.
It's like you're cursed or something, right?
I mean, that's what Harry Potter says.
Right, I was thinking Harry Potter too. I wonder if she got it from some of the lore.
Oh my gosh. That is my magical knowledge. That one right there.
I have not covered unicorn killing in any of my episodes, so I don't have prior knowledge besides Harry Potter.
Hey, that's the best knowledge.
That's right there. Oh my gosh.
Uh,
All right. So Tristan and Yvain ended up shouting for help because they're like on this cloud and they had a really good time. These pirates picked them up. And then Tristan never told them where he was from or where he's going and what he's doing, but the captain knew because a little hairy man let him know. And that's all we get with the pirates.
Yeah, nope. In the movie, they are prominent, and I love them.
They were a good ad. Yep.
Robert De Niro plays the captain who is like, I gotta keep my, what is it? What is it
My
called?
reputation. My reputation.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes. My reputation of being this like mean, evil guy who throws people off the ship up. But really, I'm a nice guy. Like, really, you're safe here with me. I'm going to take care of you. We need to change your looks a little bit, but we're going to take care of you.
My favorite part is when he's like, yeah, changing his look. And, he has this like kind of awkward haircut. And then all of a sudden his hair grows. And it's like,
Yes.
like mid chest level. And he's like, what's happening?
That was funny.
I also love that he just knows everything. Like, he's so intuitive about everything. And he's like, your shine's coming back, Star. And I know why.
Mhm.
And like, he knows that Tristan's from the wall, but he's not going to tell everyone because he's like, okay, like, here, this is your secret. You don't need to tell everyone. I love the pirates. And then I really love at the end of the movie when he feels like his crew now knows that he's this dude who like dresses up and dances and stuff. And his crew's like, no, you're still our captain. Like,
No, that was so sweet.
arr. And he's like, my reputation's ruined. And they're like, nope, we're still your crew. Like,
we still love you.
oh, we love you no matter what.
That was really cute. I like them.
And they're not in the book.
Not at all. Nope.
It's like a short little scene.
Yeah, I was like, did I forget a whole bunch of this book?
And also, while I was watching it, I turned to my husband and I was like, I think that this is really interesting storyline where they're capturing lightning bolts. I was like, I don't think I've ever seen this in any books or movies. And then my husband starts like naming off like books that he's read, like I don't know, Treasure Island, I don't know, all sorts of ones.
Oh,
He's
I
like,
didn't know
yeah,
that.
this is a common theme. Like that there are people who are like stealing lightning bolts and using them. And I was like, oh, I guess I just haven't seen
I know.
Only one I'm seeing is Percy Jackson.
Yes.
And that's not quite the same.
No. They're throwing them instead of capturing them. All right, so they made it to a town and they really enjoyed their time there for a little bit, but then they're on their way and Tristan and Yvain had this heart-to-heart moment and Yvain said she was lucky to fall in Faerie and she's lucky to have met Tristan.
This doesn't like happen yet in the movie. I love how it happens in the movie.
How does it happen in the movie?
Well, I don't want to get there yet because you haven't talked about the next part that happens.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay, I'll wait.
You get mad at me for spoiling things, and now
I'm like, how did it happen? Like,
tell me.
As if I didn't watch it too. Tristan and Yvain met up with this traveling witch. I should also say there was a bird with this traveling witch every time. And also this traveling witch is the same witch from the beginning. Because I guess in the movie we know
cart,
that.
Oh, you're talking about with the witch.
Yeah.
I was talking about we've also seen the cart from the very, very beginning.
Yes. And
so then, as the viewer, I guess not the watcher or reader, as the viewer, not the watcher. Goodness.
Yeah, I didn't know until the end.
Yeah, no, obviously, as someone who watched it, you see the same little cart and you're like, Mom's there.
Yeah.
Your mom. It's your mom.
Yeah.
Figure it out.
I think they mentioned it too in the movie.
Yeah,
which they kept a very big secret till the end of the book. So they thought she's just a trader. Like, oh yeah, can we trade for some things? And she's like, no. And Tristan's like, okay, well, can we have passage to Wall? And because she's going to do the market. And she's like, no, you have nothing that I want. I don't want to take him. Tristan pulls out the glass flower and she's like, oh my gosh. Yes. Okay. I will give you passage. And he's like, okay, but no harm or anything like that. And she turns Tristan into a dormouse. And she's like, I will get you there in one piece and you won't be harmed. Ha 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 ha. And she didn't even see Yvain because the spell the Witch Queen had put on her. And they make their way to wall.
So this is when Yvain starts trying to attack this witch because she's like, how dare you turn him into a mouse? But she can't get to her. And she's like, what the? How the? And then she gets in the cart and she just started like, insulting her. It's like, yep, you can't hear me.
And the type of mouse is so cute in the movie. I think it's like a little deer mouse or something. I'm not really sure. But he's so adorable. He's not like a little house mouse.
No, he is adorable. I was like, oh, I'll keep you as a mouse. Yeah. But then this is when Yvain starts spilling her guts to him. And she's like talking to him and it's like, in our adventures, I've actually started to really enjoy having you around. And this is crazy because I've never felt like this. And I actually think I'm starting to fall in love with you. Well, at first she actually was like, if you can hear me, look at me. And he doesn't look at her. So then she's like, okay, cool. I'm going to spill my guts to you.
Yeah, okay. Because I was like, I didn't remember that part. Because I was like, why would she not think he could hear her or understand her? But you're right. I forgot that.
She asked him. She was like, can you understand me? If you can, I need you to look this way. And then she's
he looks at the cheese.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right.
So she's like, fine, I'll feed you and I'll spill my guts. And I think it's so cute.
That was cute. Okay. So Septimus found the old witch queen and they came up with a plan, or he came up with a plan on how to kill her. And he was pretty certain that she was the one that destroyed his brother. And he caught this place on fire that she's at. But a snake came out and bit him as this witch queen is dying. As he's dying, excuse me, the witch queen comes and then he dies. And now all the brothers are ghosts. And they're like, well, this sucks. What's going to happen now?
This is what my brother dies so differently note means.
Oh, okay.
I forgot because he doesn't. This is like the whole climax of the movie.
Yeah.
This is like Tristan and Yvain are there. The witches have caught the star. And so they're trying to kill her. And Tristan and Septimus are working together. And they go in to fight the witch. Then the witch kills him and then uses his body as a puppet, which is the funniest thing. And I'm like, I know, as someone who read the book first, you're probably like, what? Again, my film background like comes into this because all I can think is, what a great actor. Like you were able to, you just had to sit there. Yeah, it's probably easy to do, but also like hitting all your marks with your eyes closed, looking like you're a dead dude. That's got to be good for you. He's a good actor. He's one of my favorite actors, but I don't know his name.
My husband was also remarking he really loved the choreography in that scene. I was wondering if they were like holding him up somehow. They must have been, because he was like hunched over, like
hoisted him. Yeah, and then he just like let his body be down. But I don't know.
That would be hard.
It was brilliantly
impressed
done.
every time I see it.
Brilliantly choreographed. It was a great scene.
I love it. I was when I got to this part of the book, I was like, "Oh, this is messed up."
Yeah, absolutely none of this happens in the book. None at all.
Nope. Nope. I was also like, wait, where's the big like, oh no, the witches have the star. Like the big fight, and oh my god, you've killed all my sisters, so I'm gonna let you go.
Yep. All the sisters stay. The witch never gets the star. Nope, none of that happens in the book.
And I feel like a lot of times I get irritated when they add unnecessary things into movies, but I was not irritated at this at all.
The book didn't feel anticlimactic, but there's all this buildup to everyone trying to get the star. So then to have that like not happen in a way, that's, if you watch that, that's a letdown. Or so that's why they added that. And I like you've said, I think it's a great addition rather than, leaving that out. Allie's like, I read the book first and I have other opinions.
I was just confused. I think going back watching it again, now that I know that happens, I would be like, oh yeah, this was good. But the whole time I'm sitting there, I'm like, what is happening? No, she's not. This is not supposed to happen. But it wasn't a bad scene. It was very entertaining. So I'm not angry.
I also really love like the ghosts watching themselves and like him being like, it's not me. I don't know what's going on.
I think is one of my favorite parts of the movie are the ghosts. Because they're in the book, but it's just very quick, like, oh, and they're not really the comic relief in the book. And they are total comic relief in the movie, and I loved them so much.
They're hilarious. They're the best.
All right. So this traveling witch, again, she has a name. I just don't remember it. You guys remember it?
Dishwater Sow.
Okay.
I think.
Whoa.
Yeah, I think that.
Yeah.
Something like that. So she ran into the witch queen and she told them, she told her to give her the girl. But the traveling witch queen's like, what are you talking about? I don't even know. Like, there's no one here. What are you talking about? A star? I don't know. Because of her little spell. And then she lets them go. She's like, fine. And they get to the wall and she transforms Tristan back. And then she transforms this bird into a person. Ooh, interesting. Who could it be?
I have no idea.
So we find out though that Tristan.
Oh, wait.
Oh, yeah.
So, because the main witch queen kills her in the movie, right?
Yeah. She runs into her or something.
Yeah, because that's how the bird transforms back into mom.
Yeah, she doesn't. The traveling witch doesn't die in the book.
Oh yeah, and then she busts into the house, and Septimus, before he dies, is like, Una? And then you're like, oh.
Yeah, because earlier in the movie they mentioned Una.
Yeah, they're like, we haven't seen Una in years.
They've never
no idea where she's at
or anything in the book. I like the mystery and the shock in the book. Like in the movie, you're like, okay, well, the sister's gonna come back. Where's the sister at? You didn't feel like that?
No.
Oh.
I think every time I watch it, and if I forget that that's her sister, like this time when I was watching it, I hadn't seen it in so long that I forgot that. So they just mentioned it, and I was like, oh, she probably dead. Like,
yeah.
Poor sister.
Okay.
So,
then it gets
so briefly noted that, yeah.
They don't make it a big enough deal where I'm like, oh, she's somewhere in this movie. So then when mom busts through and they're like, Una? Then I'm like, wow, you guys should have been worried about her too. She could be coming to get your throne.
Okay. All right, that's fair. Okay. So Tristan's fairy mom, Una, and Yvain chat for a little bit because she transforms and she's the bird. And the next morning, Tristan wakes up to word that this girl wants to meet him. He's like, oh my gosh, it's Victoria. And he's so excited, but he goes to town and it's his sister that wants to talk to him. And he had Yvain wait outside because he's like, it might be weird if I bring a girl and I say she's a star to Victoria. So you're just going to have to wait right there.
So this doesn't happen in the movie. Instead, it's so cute. After he comes back from being a mouse, he tells her, like, I heard you and I love you too. And she's like, what? You weren't supposed to hear that. Like, this is horrible. And then they spend a night together, and then Tristan wakes up and he cuts a very small piece of her hair, and then he runs. And then for a split second, you're almost like, oh no, is he really going back to Victoria to like be like, look, I love you? But no, instead, he basically is like, you're a horrible person. Like, here's your star. And then he realizes that the hair has turned to stardust. And he's like, uh-oh, I can't let her go through the wall. And then he has to run back to save her. Be like, don't come through the wall. Oh, but that actually happens before the house thing. Because then when she's on her way to the wall, that's when the witch comes and gets her.
And captures her, yeah. With Una.
And none of that happens in the book.
No, I kept waiting for it. They like get to the wall and then they stop them and was like, you can't go through the wall. Or wait, no, she says, I'm about to be a rock when I get through this. I was like, I don't think you knew that in the movie because you were going to willingly go through that wall.
All right. So his sister eventually brought him to Victoria, and Victoria felt awful. She's like, I'm so sorry I sent you on this quest because I'm actually already going to marry Mr. Monday. He asked me the day before I sent you out. And she but I keep my word. I said I'd marry you. And he's like, actually, you said you'd give me your heart's desire or my heart's desire. And I desire you to marry Mr. Monday.
I thought that was a really sweet moment. I was like,
cute.
that's good for you, Tristan, to be like the bigger person here and be like, okay, well, if you're happy, I'm happy.
Because and also Victoria for the movie doesn't seem like she would be like that, like she wouldn't wouldn't hold off on marrying because he's been gone for months. Like she's afraid he might be dead, right?
Yeah.
And,
in movie, it's just been a week.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because then she also felt bad because she was like, I realized that I'm why you left. So this is horrible. I'm glad you're back. Thank you for coming back. So I'll marry you.
Yeah.
Whereas movie Victoria would not have done that.
No, I don't think so. So Tristan met up with Dunstan, his dad, and asked about his birth mom, and he found out the truth finally. This is when he finds out the truth.
Yeah. Whereas in the movie, he found out a while ago.
Yes, the very beginning. So the witch is talking to Una, and Una says, "This is my last market with you." Oh, the witch, the traitor witch, not the witch king. Yeah,
queen.
Okay. Yeah, thank you. And she's like, "This is my last market with you because the curse is almost over because the moon lost her star or her daughter, which was Yvain, and 2 Mondays come together because Mr. Monday and Victoria are getting married, so they're 2 Mondays."
So I'm actually really glad that you kept what the condition was for her to get released because I didn't piece it all together.
So right now,
like I obviously knew the things had been met. But I didn't piece together that it was Yvain falling from the sky and the Mondays coming together.
I thought it was so cute. So much cuter than the witch just dying.
Yeah, that's true, I guess.
But I mean,
it was a little complex to explain, and maybe that's why they took it out of the movie because it was, kind of cumbersome to to explain all the elements that have to come together.
They probably would have had to have a scene where Yvain has her mother and is talking to the moon.
Yeah, probably. So Yvain and Tristan are talking and she's trying to okay, he's gonna get married this girl, but he shares that
I remember what I was gonna say.
Okay.
So I feel like in the book, I feel like Tristan, you never feel his feelings towards the star. Am I crazy? Did you guys? Yeah.
Oh, I felt like he loved her.
Oh, really?
I didn't. I agree with you. I feel like the romance doesn't show up until the very end, and you're like, oh, okay, well, that's
I know.
kind of a slow.
But that's the slowest burn I've ever read.
Yes, it was a slow burn. Didn't feel like the romance was that important until the very end.
I almost
maybe I just knew it was gonna happen. I was like, this is the obvious ending, so I just assumed throughout the whole book that they were falling for each other.
But in the movie, you're rooting for them to get together. You're like, oh, they're falling in love. You obviously see that this is what's happening.
That's exactly. I think going from that to then the book just made it a vast difference because I was like, wow, I don't feel like you I know you care for her and you want her to be okay and she's a person and she's got feelings and you're going to take care of her, but I don't think you love this girl.
Maybe they did that so that when he tells Victoria to marry the other guy, it was like a shock moment instead of oh yeah, we saw that one coming.
Because there were elements where he was like, I don't even remember what color Victoria's eyes are.
Yeah.
And there were moments where you could see him trying to figure out why he was so in love with Victoria. And so you could see the conflict happening within him towards, but it wasn't so obvious as the movie.
Yeah. No, I like rooting for them. I went into this book yes, I cannot wait for this romance. And I got to chapter 8 and I was like, where's the romance?
Yeah.
This guy's still in the movie, it got to a point where he just stopped mentioning Victoria and knew he had to go give her the star, but to be yeah, this is not happening. Whereas book, he mentioned her all the time.
Okay. So Yvain and Tristan are talking and she found out he's not marrying her. And she's like, well, that's probably good because she's 2 months pregnant right now. I'm like, oh, wow. Thanks. And so
not happen in the movie.
yes, no. So we find out, well, we already knew. Una is the fairy mom.
But wait, I gotta say, because one of my favorite parts of this movie is because Humphrey, who is Victoria's love interest, in the start of the movie has, sword fought him and like kicked his butt. Tristan's like, oh man. So then when he comes and Humphrey comes around the corner and he's like, okay, we're going to fight. And he pulls his sword out and he does a quick little like flip of it and like shrugs his shoulders. I'm like, yes, Tristan.
He's learned so much in the 1 week he's been gone. So the pirates taught him, right? That's how he learned it.
Mm-hmm.
So Yvain said she needed to give this topaz to someone who can rule the kingdom. And Una's like, I'm Tristan's mom. You should give it to Tristan because he's the last of his bloodline. Turns out that Una was the sister to all the brothers. And this is when we find that out. And she said, we should go home. We should ride elephants and enter the kingdom. It'll be such a little party. And Tristan's like, hold up. No, we're going to go on our terms, but you go do whatever you want. And so she did. She went and started ruling Stormden, and Tristan and Yvain took their sweet little time to get home.
Oh, like 7 years, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You want me to just finish?
Yeah.
So it's been 3 years, and Una's been running the city. They pop in, and she's like, they got it covered. And then they leave again for 5 years. And then they come back in like rags and they're like, okay, we're ready to, have nice things. And so the citizens saw the topaz and they're like, this is them. And then Tristan was the best ruler they ever had. And he ruled until he was old. But of course he died, and Yvain doesn't because she's a star. And now she's the ruler. And it talked about how at night she just goes to her little tower and just like up awake talking with the moon. I don't know if she was talking, but she's enjoying her nighttime talking to the moon. I thought it was such a cute little, I felt sad for her because her love died, but
well, I was so blown away because in the movie he does not die because he has the heart of the star. They explain in the movie that once you have the heart of the star, you're essentially immortal. Mm-hmm. And so now because her heart is his, he's immortal and he gets to live forever with her. So when he died in the book, I was like, hold on.
What is not my happily ever after?
Yeah.
And they also mention in the movie that they have their children and children's children, and in the book she can't have children, so there's no children.
Mm-hmm. And then they also gave Dad a happy ending because now he got to end up with his love. So Tristan's mom and dad get together and they are there now in Faerie.
Did not happen.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's it. We did it.
Yeah.
So now we have some casting, and IMDb casts 56 people for this movie.
Wow.
My first one is my favorite. Ian McKellen is our narrator.
Mm-hmm.
We got Gandalf narrating for us. I love that.
I know. I turned to my husband and was like, is that Gandalf?
He's Gandalf for you guys. For me, he's Magneto.
Yeah. I'll pick the good guy over the bad guy.
I always pick the bad guy.
So we have David Kelly as the guard. All I saw was Willy Wonka. Because he's Grandpa in Willy Wonka with Johnny Depp, right?
You didn't realize that, but now you say it, yes.
Oh, I did not realize that either.
That's hilarious. I just love him. He does like the little backflip. It's like, oh, you're not getting through.
I know. He learned a lot since last time.
Jump in.
I thought they did a fantastic job with casting.
Yeah.
I agree.
Yeah,
it's like an really all-star cast, and they just did phenomenally.
Yeah.
I agree.
So we have Kate. Oh, gosh.
McGowan.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
As Una.
Oh, I loved her.
She was good.
She was really good.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Melanie Hill was Ditchwater Sal, the traveling witch.
She was good.
Yep. Charlie Cox was Tristan.
So good. So good that I thought he played his dad.
I read that director wanted, he even said not an Orlando Bloom type character because he wanted someone that you could believe was nothing to a handsome prince. I was like, oh, he did good.
Mm-hmm. Poor guy. I cast you because I thought you could be nothing and go into something.
Oh my gosh.
Man, the
have,
change of haircut really,
Mhm.
really
It
made
did.
him
Oh,
look
it
so much more
helps.
handsome, right?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Man.
I'm like, if you had that long hair the whole time, Tristan,
Yeah, right?
you probably would have got Victoria.
Oh my gosh. Oh gosh.
Sienna.
Sienna
hmm
Miller played Victoria.
She did good for what she was in the movie
Mhm.
because she was mean in the movie. Whereas if she was nicer, I don't know if she would have fit that.
Yeah. She looked how I pictured though.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Well,
That's exactly how I thought she'd look.
And then we've said it many times. Henry Cavill is Humphrey.
Oh, he was so good
I love
for this character that wasn't in the book.
Yes. I liked him. And then we have Nathaniel Parker as Dunstan. I think that's older Dunstan. Yeah. Mhm.
That's older Dunstan. I thought he did good. I also think that he looks a lot like Charlie. Like he looks like he could be his father.
Yeah.
Is what I mean.
Oh yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
And he was not in the movie, but Ricky Gervais played Ferdy. Or he was not in the book, excuse me.
I love what was I gonna say? Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I love that all of these like big names signed on for small roles. Like
Yeah.
Henry Cavill playing Humphrey, Ricky playing Ferdy. Like I'm like, what? I love that you guys were like, yep, I'm here for this. I'm in.
So we have Mark Strong played Septimus.
Yes, I love him. He's the guy that I love. He's in the Kingsman movies. He's in I can't think of anything else. But like he's in so many movies that I watch, and every time I watch it, I'm like, you are so good. You're a good actor.
Yeah, he did good.
Mhm.
He was the one who was dead. Right?
Yeah, he's the one that has this scene.
This scene.
As it's a podcast.
listeners,
Yep,
yeah,
you
can see you do that.
guys, I was
Ventriloquist.
bending my body.
Jason Fleming played Primus.
Again, great.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle Pfeiffer played
Lamia.
Lamia.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
She did good. She's the main blonde witch.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Where am I at?
She did good.
Yes. Claire Danes played Yvain.
What's funny is I always have issues with Claire Danes. Like, I don't know what it is about her, but I'm not a big fan of her. But in this role, I love her. I wouldn't change her. I'm like, okay, you're meant to be Evie.
And Robert De Niro played Captain Shakespeare. I didn't know that was his
I was
name.
going to say, I didn't know that was his name either. That's
Was it in the book? Was it his name in the book?
I don't know if they...
I don't think they even gave him a name in the book. I think it was just a
called him
pirate.
Captain.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know.
That was a good name, though.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's good.
He was perfect.
Yep. Then we have a couple end questions here. Is the theme of the book and the movie the same?
Yeah.
I think the theme is.
For sure.
Mm-hmm. And then do the characters stay true to how they are written in the book?
Victoria, no.
Mm-hmm.
And then all the added characters, probably not. But then, yes.
I think so. Yeah. For the
majority, yes.
Yeah. I just, like we had said, like Tristan didn't really show that he was in love with Yvain and in the book and all this sort of stuff that we've already mentioned.
But it's not enough where I'm like, what did they do to this character?
Right.
Except Victoria.
Yeah. Yeah. There's been a few movies where I'm like, holy crap, did you read the book? Character would never do that.
And which do you prefer?
I prefer the movie. Hands down. No question about it.
Why?
Because it's just so good. It's so fun. And I love being able to root right away for I almost said Victoria. For Yvain and Tristan. Because I just love the from enemies to lovers. And that's essentially what they are.
As a standalone, I really love the book on its own, but I think that they improved upon it so much in the movie, in part because they added so many of the comedic elements where those weren't really part of the book. I mean, most fairy tales don't have, comedic elements, but a movie, I think every movie benefits from a little bit of comedy, even if it's a serious drama. It needs those
agree.
breaks. And they did a fantastic job with writing the script.
Yeah, I agree.
This one was really hard. Like, I typing up my notes and then going through this whole thing, I'm like, oh gosh, which one do I like better? But I do think by a smidge it is the movie, because same thing. It's funnier. Even though the book was funny, it had more funny moments in the movie. But there were just elements of the book that I wish they changed in the movie, and I didn't like that change.
Yeah.
But overall, I like the movie better.
It's a fun movie.
Yeah. It's a fantastic movie.
Yeah. Would you recommend it to a friend?
Yes. 1000%.
The book or a movie? Which one?
Either one.
Either
one. If there's one you wouldn't recommend, tell us.
Yes.
Yeah, I've been recommending it as for like people who have read a Neil Gaiman book that they didn't like. I think this is, you know, like I was saying before, like there's so many different types of styles that he falls into, and so I think this is a good one for people who enjoy the fairy tale narrative.
Yeah, I think so.
Oh, I agree.
And there's another one in like Neverwhere, I think is another book that I've been told is supposed to be very good in this same style.
Okay. Awesome.
Yeah. I'll have to see if it has a movie. I'm not sure. It might.
That makes it easier. It's funny. Allie just a few weeks ago asked me, she was like, is our podcast helping your TBR or ruining it? And I was like, like half and half. Like some of the books that we're covering have been on my TBR, but also I have my TBR that's just, sitting to the side. Like, you want to read me yet?
There's no movie. Sorry.
Okay, wait, I want to know how long of a list y'all have, because mine is ridiculous.
Oh my, Allie has done the math and we have like 10 years worth of books to cover.
or that are, yes. But
and they just keep making them.
Our personal TBR, mine is whatever's on our season. Yeah. I'm not a huge reader, surprisingly, as I'm on a reading podcast, but it's been really fun, and so I'm just kind of like, yeah, whatever we're gonna do, we're gonna do.
Yeah, whereas my personal TBR has like 50 plus books probably on it.
Oh, my Goodreads TBR is 988.
Oh my gosh.
It's ridiculous, and it doesn't even include my Libby TBR.
Right.
So
we're not
that's what I mean.
it's a
ridiculous number.
You're set for life. Oh my gosh. You gotta read like a book a day to get through it all.
And I'm not that fast of a reader. I mean, like at this point, I only listen. I'm also a mom, so I'm in the I can't read with my eyes. I don't have the time to sit down and read with my eyes, so I have to read with my ears. And I probably get through a book a week ish, depending on the how into the book I am. Sometimes it takes a while.
That's exactly me. Yeah,
I was gonna say that's her. Yeah.
Anytime, like driving in the car, pop it in or wherever, I'm like, it's a good story.
Yeah. Sometimes I'll put the radio on for the kids, and then I'll put my Bluetooth in my ear so I can if I am really into the book.
Yes, I do that every time.
I'm like, what? Y'all are fine back there.
Yes. Oh my gosh. I feel real guilty. I'm like, I don't know. Listening to earbuds is loud while driving, but I'm doing it anyway. Oh, man.
Well, we are about to wrap up. So where can our listeners find you?
So my podcast is on all of the different podcasting platforms, the normal ones, Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, all the normal ones. I put up all my shows on YouTube, but I generally find that it's more of a discovery tool than, so I use a lot of shorts. So people sometimes discover me through YouTube shorts. And then I'm on Instagram and on Facebook, except for my Facebook got hacked recently. So I don't have any administrative controls over my group or my page. And so I think I have to actually start them again from scratch because I can't get into them. And I did have someone who was like a second, but he like left Facebook and I can't find him. Like he's like disappeared. And so now so don't look for me on Facebook right now. Look for me. I post on Instagram and it's attached to my Facebook account on like my Facebook page, but I can't post it on it besides from through Instagram. So I can't do anything. It's annoying.
Oh, that's frustrating.
Yes.
It is very frustrating. And then I do have a website. It's just www.fabricoffolklore.com.
Nice.
Awesome.
You got a real website. We're over here with offscript253.wixsite.com/offscript.
Yeah.
Oh gosh.
Well, this has been so fun. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you.
Yeah, it's been a blast.
I'm glad that I got to schedule Stardust finally.
Yes, that was fun.
I'm glad I had an excuse to read it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Glad to give you that.
Yes,
He moved one of my books from my TBR to my
We can help.
Oh gosh.
All right. Well, thank you, and we'll talk to you.
Yes. Awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Thank you. This has been so fun.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right.
Bye-bye.
Yes,
Bye.
bye.
All right. That was so much fun.
Oh my gosh, that was a blast.
Yeah. She was fun to chat with.
Yes.
She did such a good job.
I know. It was so communicated with us the whole time.
We love that.
Cassidy, I'm looking at you.
Yeah.
Man.
John's not going to have a problem. I was going to be like, John, listen to this episode and take notes, but you should hear him when we're watching the show. There's things he's been telling me things to write down for notes. And I'm like, that is something that Allie's going to take a note of. And he goes, yeah, but that's my note. I need notes too.
You better, because my notes are I'm trying to keep it not 70 pages.
I told him, if there's one thing I know about him with watching this show now with him, he's literally, you're going to say something and not say something. And he's going to be like, actually, this is how it happened.
Yeah. I'll be like, you tell the story, dude. You take my spot. I'll just sit here. Give my voice a break. Oh my gosh.
Anyways.
Okay.
So
we said our website.
Yes, we did.
Or are you cutting that?
No, I'm going to keep that.
Okay.
So you should rate, subscribe, and review. And then you should go rate and subscribe and review Fabric of Folklore.
Yes.
Give her some love.
Yep. She told you how to get there. She told you where she's at.
I'll tag her. Oh my gosh. I'll link to her in our show notes. And then remember, season 6 listener picks. We're only letting you pick until the end of this season. There's 2 more spots left.
2 more. Do it.
Yes.
And then we have our mini-sode on Wednesday. What will it be?
I don't know.
I don't know either.
We'll figure that out in 2 weeks.
And then we have Hogfather. This is a switch. If you have not, we were going to do this last, but we need as much time to get through 5 seasons of The Magicians and 3 books.
Large. Yeah.
So, but I think it's better because now we have Neil Gaiman and Terry Pratchett right next to each other. And that's how we started the season.
That's actually true. That's a good thing.
I think it's so cute.
All right. Well, this was fun. Thank you for listening. Hopefully you enjoyed it.
We did.
Yeah, it was a blast.
That was a lot of fun.
And also, go watch our YouTube because I'm going to put this whole video on there. And I have a feeling because I haven't figured out how to make Google not switch between the two. So editing it's going to look janky. So it's just going to be the whole interview.
Wow.
So if you want to go see what I cut out.
See the raw footage. Because, man, I'm sure Bri cut out a lot because I was just going off the wall. Or was I? Is that a way to get you to listen or
watch the video? Let's see.
Gotta go watch. Maybe do both, and then you'll see what the differences were.
And then you can do off script for us about us.
Do it.
All right.
Oh my goodness, you guys.
Well, With that, Stardust
Went off script.
Bye.
Thanks for sticking with us.
We hope you enjoyed it.
If you did, we would greatly appreciate it if you gave us 5 beautiful stars, reviewed, and subscribed.
You can also follow us on Facebook at Offscript, on Instagram at Offscript Podcast 21, and on TikTok at Offscript_pod.
Shoutouts to Madame Ashen Creations for our adorable logo art.
And Adam Daniel for our incredible theme song.
And to Creative Cinephile Productions for producing our podcast.
See you next time.